One day, Kashiwada and Oota stare at each other over a game of Old Maid. One stare is blank, while the other burns with determination. Some of their classmates grow curious and start to watch. It turns out Oota was the one who challenged Kashiwada to the game, hoping to finally prove that he can hide his expressions and not wear his heart on his sleeve. Oota slightly pushes one card forward above the others, hoping that Kashiwada will take it. Kashiwada notices that Oota is trying to bait her into picking that card, but she instead chooses another and secures the win. No one is surprised that Oota lost, since his expressions were a huge giveaway throughout the game. Frustrated, Oota challenges Kashiwada to another round of Old Maid, claiming that the earlier match was merely a warm-up, and that the next one will be the real deal. He manages to get Kashiwada to play again. Smiling confidently, he pushes the Joker card forward so it stands out a little more. This time, he believes his strategy is foolproof. Instead of trying to hide his expressions, he'll express exactly what he's feeling to confuse her instead. However, the results remain the same. Kashiwada wins again without so much as a twitch. Despite his classmates telling him to give up, Oota stubbornly refuses and challenges Kashiwada to yet another game, proudly declaring that this time he'll be the victor since he can now read her mind. Kashiwada accepts the challenge, shuffles the deck, and deals the cards, all with her usual blank expression. Glancing briefly at his own hand, Oota shifts his focus to her, studying her breathing, her expression, and any tiny movement that might give her away. But he sees nothing. Still, he feels confident that her expression will change when she either draws the Joker or when he touches it from her hand. Carefully, he picks a card and looks at her face. To his dismay, he can't read a single thing from her expression, and when he finally looks at the card, it turns out to be the Joker. He glances back at Kashiwada, but her expression hasn't even shifted to one of triumph. Oota stares at her more intently, convinced that she must be gazing into another dimension that allows her to win every time. He leans closer, staring deeply into her eyes. Oota notices she's drawn the Joker and cheers, only to feel confused when he sees her trembling slightly. He assumes she's shaking with laughter and grows frustrated, wondering why she's amused instead of dismayed. Angrily, he accuses her of mocking him. In the end, Kashiwada is declared the overall winner. Another new day starts at school, and Kashiwada calmly walks through the halls when a toy spider suddenly drops right in front of her. She claims she was surprised, but her expression remains completely neutral. Oota reels the toy spider back, frustrated that his plan to startle Kashiwada didn't work. He tries several more times throughout the day to get a reaction from her, but nothing seems to work. During their break, Oota complains about his failed attempts to Tadakoro and Sada. Both his friends try to talk him out of bothering Kashiwada, but they end up listening to Oota explain his reason for wanting to startle her. His story takes them all the way back to the opening ceremony during spring. As he walked toward the school gate that day, Oota was busy fending off a crow. Just when he thought he'd gotten rid of it, the crow pooped on his shoulder before flying away. That was when he noticed Kashiwada nearby, who, unfortunately, also got hit by the crow. In fact, she had it worse than he did, since the droppings landed right on her head, while his were only on his uniform. Oota found it strange that Kashiwada didn't seem to care about what happened. He followed her into the school and later discovered that they were classmates. From that day on, he became curious about what could elicit more expressions from her, which led to his ongoing mission to get her to react. His friends give him worried looks after hearing his explanation, and Sada warns him not to overdo it with Kashiwada. Finally, lunchtime arrives and Kashiwada gracefully unpacks her meal. She takes a generous sip of her drink when Oota suddenly declares with a proud grin that he swapped out her green tea with vinegar and that she must be suffering right now. When he looks at her, however, her face remains perfectly neutral. Oota begins to doubt himself, wondering if he made a mistake or if she's just good at hiding her suffering. To check, he takes a sip from his own bottle of green tea, only to be met with the sour taste of vinegar. Horrified, he spits it out immediately. Kashiwada makes a small sound and visibly begins to shake, though her face stays blank as ever. Oota accuses her of laughing, and Kashiwada calmly explains that she noticed him smirking earlier when she got her drink. So when he wasn't looking, she secretly switched their bottles. Meanwhile, Ota's friends watch their exchange, realizing that Oota is actually the one being teased, and that Kashiwada knows how much power she has over him. Suddenly, Kashiwada grabs Ota's sleeve and quietly admits that she likes him. Oota immediately turns bright red and faces away from her, muttering aloud that she doesn't mean it in a romantic sense. However, Kashiwada calmly clarifies that she does mean it romantically. Thinking she's mocking him, Oota quickly steps back. His reaction makes Kashiwada sad, and though her face fails to show it properly. She asks if he dislikes her, and he stammers that he does, because she's so expressionless and it creeps him out. Kashiwada slowly moves closer, causing Oota to grow increasingly nervous and avoid her gaze. Still, Kashiwada keeps looking directly at his face. When she finally straightens up, She tells him that she's relieved because his true feelings are always written all over his face. Ota's nervousness shifts into embarrassed anger as he continues to call Kashiwada creepy, vowing that one day he'll be the one to scare her. Kashiwada quietly returns to her seat. Ota's friends who had been watching nearby notice a small smile form on her lips. They wonder if she's happy, but since she's facing away from Oota, he doesn't see that she finally showed a little emotion. Another day during lunch, Oota gathers his friends for a strategy meeting on how to take down Kashiwada. His friends refuse to be part of any of his plans, but Oota insists that he'll just observe her for now. His friends question why he even called them over if he already has a plan of action. Ignoring their concerns, Oota explains that he's certain Kashiwada will eventually break her stone-faced expression, and all he has to do is keep watch until it happens. Sada decides to lend a hand, saying he's also curious about Kashiwada. He teases Oota, saying that Oota seems to be the most curious about her, and that, as a good friend, he should help him out. Tadokoro joins in the teasing, which only makes Oota more flustered. The next day, Kashiwada is the first to arrive in class. The boys stalk her from the doorway, surprised that she's there so early. As they watch, she pulls out one of her textbooks and starts to read. Sada notices that it's normal behavior, but Oota urges him to look closer. The boys notice her softly humming to herself, her head swaying from side to side. Oota believes this is something she only does when she's sure no one else is around. Sensing a presence behind her, Kashiwada turns toward the door, but the boys quickly duck out of sight. She returns to her book, and the boys quietly sigh in relief that they weren't caught. As the day progresses, Oota keeps a keen eye on Kashiwada, which causes him to be called out by the teacher several times for either not following instructions or accidentally causing minor incidents. During lunch, the three boys even push their tables together to surround Kashiwada. However, she remains completely expressionless throughout the meal, making Oota increasingly frustrated. Sada pulls out his notes and points out that he noticed she looks slightly flushed during lunch and that she blinks 15 times per minute. Tadokoro is shocked at how dedicated his friends are to observing her and nervously reminds them that they still have cleaning duties and suggests they can continue observing her then. They soon learn that Kashiwada will be cleaning the pool with several other students. At the pool area, Kashiwada diligently scrubs the floor of the pool while the students around her complain about the tedious work. Oota and his friends quietly approach and stop by the fence to watch. Suddenly, one of the students shouts that there's a raccoon nearby. Eager for a distraction, the others drop their clean tools and rush toward where the raccoon was supposedly spotted, but Kashiwada stays behind, continuing her assigned task. Oota and his friends watch her, impressed by her focus. However, the truth is that Kashiwada is also curious about the raccoon, but she's just too shy to admit it. While Ota's eyes remain trained on her, Sada notes that Kashiwada usually spends most of her time alone at school. After a short pause, Oota steps out into the open, wearing a mischievous grin, and announces that he'll reward her for working so hard. He aims the hose at her and tries to spray her with water, but Kashiwada skillfully dodges. Oota is furious and confused by how she managed to avoid it so easily. In his frustration, Oota accidentally sprays himself instead, soaking his clothes. He immediately blames her, then tries to spray her again, but she dodges once more. Suddenly, another stream of water hits him from behind. He turns to see Sada and Tadokoro armed with water guns, grinning mischievously. Tadokoro even offers one to Kashiwada, much to Ota's dismay. The playful chaos quickly spreads, and soon they're all splashing water at each other with hoses and water guns, though Oota keeps insisting he's still mad. Sada manages to hit Oota square in the face with a well-aimed shot, distracting him from targeting Kashiwada for a brief moment. Kashiwada watches them silently and suddenly runs toward them, joining in on the fun. At one point, Kashiwada gets hit with water by Oota, but Oota is quickly sprayed by all three of them. They continue to have fun splashing each other, though most of the attacks end up targeting Oota. Eventually, he collapses from exhaustion and realizes they've all gained upon him. He jumps back to his feet and chases after them as they tease him about how easy of a target he is. While making his rounds, teacher Onuwarada hears the commotion and bursts into the pool area. He catches Kashiwada, Oota, and the others playing with water guns and immediately scolds them for fooling around during cleaning time. The group tries to run away, but Onuwarada manages to grab Oota by the collar. Soon after, all four of them are kneeling in front of him as he lectures them for running on the pool floor. As punishment, the four are made to clean the pool again, even though Oota and his friends weren't assigned to that area in the first place. Oota grumbles about the situation while Kashiwada quietly walks up to him and thanks him. Ota's face turns bright red as he tries to hide his expression, but Kashiwada moves closer to get a better look, causing him to flinch and run away from her. Sada and Tadokoro watch from the side, once again noticing the faint smile forming on Kashiwada's face. Meanwhile, the other students are still off somewhere searching for the raccoon. One day, Oota challenges Kashiwada to guess which of his hands holds a piece of candy. Kashiwada touches both hands, studying his expression, and quickly figures it out. When she tries to pry it open, Oota stubbornly keeps it shut. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss new episodes every week.